Gora Ottawa Temple would like to welcome Mahabhagavat Prabhu. There is a small introduction about him we would like to share. Prabhu first received a copy of the Bhagavad Gita many years ago in Mumbai, India. The Bhagavad Gita has been transformational in Prabhu's life, and he now shares this knowledge with everyone he meets. Prabhu has been living in Toronto for many years now and serves our Toronto Hare Krishna community in various ways by facilitating classes for Toronto and many other centers across the GTA area, going out on Harinam Sankirtan, distributing books, and spending a lot of time connecting with people and speaking with them about Bhagavad Gita. He is also a guide and mentor for some of the devotees in our community and is always enthusiastic to speak about the practice of Krishna and Bhakti and looks for opportunities to distribute Srila Prabhupada's books. And we witnessed today that he gave a short presentation on guiding about distribution of books, and it was really effective. That's a proof that I was able to get $25 of donation when distributing the books. So thank you for the wisdom, Prabhu. That was really efficient for us, and we are very fortunate to have this association in person. So we hope that you enjoy today's Sunday feast and Prabhu's lecture. Hari Bol.
Thank you very much for choosing to spend your Sunday afternoon with us at ISKCON Toronto. It's a bright sunny day after a long time, and even then you are here, which means that you have a lot of love for Shri Krishna. So thank you very much. I'm praying that all of you, those who are here in person as well as those who are online, I pray to make good use of your attention, because once you give someone your attention, you can't take it back. Once you give someone your time, you can't take it back. So thank you very much. We are going to read today from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, but before that, I will give a context. And but before I begin, I am begging blessings from His Grace, Guruprasad Prabhu, who is one of my spiritual masters, to be honest, and he is teaching me for many years, actually over a decade, and most of his teaching has been actually through his behavior, but very rarely sometimes he has spoken to me, very amazing gems that I cherish and I hold close to my heart. So we'll sing a little little phrase that we sing before we recite the Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's traditional to do that. So it's call and response, it's easy. So the words are not here, but you should be able to follow along. Okay? Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
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 Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare
Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai, Samaveta Bhaktavinda ki jai, all glories to assembled. Om Adhyanathimiranthasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My spiritual master opened my eyes to the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisance at the lotus feet of my spiritual master. Eham Shri Guru Shri Uttapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanjana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So thank you again. Today's topic is what Srila Prabhupada brought us. The reason for this topic is that quite often there isn't a... can everybody see? We don't have to show it right now. I'll tell you when we're ready. So what Srila Prabhupada, externally it appears to a lot of people after they have spent some time in the process of Krishna consciousness, Srila Prabhupada gave us only the basics. And for everything else, you have to go to someone else. I'm mentioning this because there are some devotees that very recently have left the International Society for Krishna Consciousness and gone to join an Upper Sampradaya, a tradition started by someone who was kicked out by Gopal Bhatta Goswami from the Sampradaya. So I spoke to them, I met them and I spoke to them, and I realized that after spending more than 15 years in the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, they had not developed an appreciation for what Srila Prabhupada brought us, which was very sad, and they were serving as pujaris and so on. So it was extremely disheartening. But I must say that I was in a similar position not too long ago myself. So I had got my Bhagavad Gita in my 20s, and then I read it many hundreds of times until I came to the temple actually. I read the Bhagavad Gita as I had read other Bhagavad Gitas, only to find the faults in this one so I could put it aside. Because I happened to know a little bit of Sanskrit, and I saw a bunch of flaws in others, and I thought this one was just like those others. So that was my intention, find it, and somehow or the other I had some kind of adversarial relationship with the monks from the Hare Krishna movement. And every time I saw them, my blood would start to boil, because I felt like somebody had somehow or the other taken them over, somehow or the other completely bamboozled them, and and somehow or the other forced them to do what they are doing without them knowing what they are doing. So I wanted to set these poor shaven-headed fools right. And little did I know that I would be a shaven-headed fellow myself very soon. But, so that was my intent. But I read the Bhagavad Gita, and then I came to the ISKCON Toronto community in 2004. And then I saw for the very first time people who are actually living the Bhagavad Gita on a day-to-day basis. And then I got involved in the community and so on. And then I even got initiated in 2011. I got my second initiation in 2013. In 2014, I was beginning to have doubts about ISKCON. I was like, there must be more to all of this stuff. What is it? Where is it? Maybe it's not here. Maybe I have to go keep looking. And so at that year, I attended the ISKCON Leadership Sangha in Mayapur. And in the ILS Mayapur, there was a series of anybody whose phone goes off needs to buy a set of Srimad Bhagavatam. Whose phone is going off right now? Okay, one Bhagavatam set sold. Yeah, we have one ready. What's your name, Prabhu? Do you have a Bhagavatam set? Please consider taking one. Thank you. Thank you. I attended a series of lectures by His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj, who actually talked about what Prabhupada brought us. And I must say that I attended the same set of I was there for a week, and he was giving 2 sessions a day. I attended 14 sessions. He was speaking the same things, but I attended 14 sessions of his class continuously. And he has given those talks many other times, and I am very grateful to him for actually helping me develop an appreciation for what Srila Prabhupada has brought us. Beginning of an appreciation. So we'll talk about that today. But back to the basics of what Srila Prabhupada brought. If you hear Srila Prabhupada's classes, he stresses a couple of things. He always stresses on the point that I am not this body. I am a spirit soul. And so are all of us. All of you. Not your bodies, your spirit souls. And then the second thing he stresses about is you are an eternal servant of Krishna. So you find a way to serve Krishna. So, and then he gave those principles, and then he gave a process, right? He gave a process. He says, chant a minimum of 16 rounds of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra every day. follow the 4 regulative principles, which is no illicit sexual activities, no intoxication, including tea and coffee, no gambling, including buying lottery tickets and the like, and absolutely no meat eating, including eggs and fish and even other items which are considered as meatly, even among vegetables, such as onion and garlic. So, and then he said, and with all your, everything that you have got, with everything that you have got, serve the Krishna consciousness movement. Right? These are the principles this is the process that he gave us. So, if we once we understand this, we begin to understand, okay, so what's more than serving the Krishna consciousness? What's more than propagating this movement, building new temples, distributing more books, and what's the point of all of this? Like, you begin to wonder a little bit like that. So if you examine that a little bit, as an overview, we are actually all spiritual beings. Like, we don't have a soul, we are the soul, right? People say, does this animal have a soul? No. This animal is a soul in a particular kind of consciousness. Doesn't have a soul, is a soul that has a body, right? That happens to be the animal's body. We are having all these material experiences. Like, I think I'm a man, somebody thinks she's a woman, somebody thinks they're a dog, somebody thinks they're a tree. And it's not just thinking from a conscious perspective, it's like ingrained. It's called the ego, or the sense of identity. So the tree thinks that, not thinks, but is living the consciousness of a tree. Cannot do anything else. The dog cannot do anything else, right? The moment the dogly stimulus comes, the dog acts like a dog. Unfortunately, even though they are trapped in repeated births and deaths, and there are 8.4 million species of life, we can't do much about those creatures who are trapped in birds, animals, insects, fish bodies. Not much you can do. You can give them some prasad, but I cannot invite all the dogs and cats. Actually, I have a neighbor up there in the ashram who is a cat. He or she was looking at me very intently as I was chanting Hare Krishna. So I'm hoping that they get a chance very soon to actually chant Hare Krishna. So, but we can't do much about them, to be honest. Like, they have to live through their karmic experience until they come to a human species. Now, there are 400,000 human species. And those 400,000 species, we can assist, we can serve, we can assist them because they are in human form of life. However, unfortunately, even though they are born in human form of life, they are caught in this web of karma chakra. They cannot act any differently. They cannot, they're just like those dogs and cats. They're following a certain set of impulses. Devamrita Swami Maharaj calls it, knee-jerk reactions and not having developed their choice muscles. Everybody has a choice to act in a certain way, but everybody also has an instinct to act in a certain way. And most people haven't gone past that instinct to develop that choice to figure out what you want. They think they're choosing, but actually they're just following their instinct, their animal instincts. Why is that so? Why is it like this? Because that's the nature of the karmic cycle. So if you imagine, if you put one seed in the ground, right, in the spring or summer, and the tree, the seed sprouts and grows into a tree, in a few years, the tree will start giving flowers and fruits, and inside the fruits are seeds. And those seeds fall down on the ground, and they sprout, and they grow. So if you take one banyan tree or one fig, one banyan fig, for example, how many seeds are inside that? Has anybody eaten or tasted a fig? And how many seeds are inside that? Hundreds of them, right? So each of those is capable of giving rise to one fig tree or one banyan tree, correct? And how many figs does a banyan tree give every year? Thousands of them. They're just lying everywhere, right? Especially if you've seen a banyan tree, when it's a season, it's like the whole ground is covered with sticky fig stuff, right? So each of those has a seed, and inside each seed is one tree, and inside each tree are thousands of seeds, fruits, and each fruit has hundreds of seeds. And so if you can imagine that one karmic action is all it takes us to entangle us for the rest of all eternity. You have to do one karmic action. Give somebody $10 and that's enough. for example. Because they owe you now the $10, you are implicated in whatever they do with your $10. Right? So now this is an endless cycle, endless cycle, endless cycle. It's impossible, Aprarabdha phalam papam kutam bijam phalonmukham kramenaiva praliyeta Vishnu bhakti rathatmanam. Which means that aprarabdha. Some of the karmic actions are not visible to us. We don't know what's going to come to us. Right? We have the prarabdha karma, but it's not, we don't know it. We don't know what is going to flower, what is going to give seed. Some of them we can see that, I have this tendency to do this particular kind of thing. Sometimes we can't see that. Because it is kutam, it is hidden under the surface. But it will surface. When the opportunity to commit that particular karmic action arises, we will commit that karmic, and then we will know that, now I have done this. Okay. Aprarabdha phalam papam kutam bijam phalonmukham. There is actually no solution to get out of it. Like being within karma chakra, everybody has a bank account, except the kids. But even the kids have bank accounts these days. So you know that there's a debit column and a credit column, right? You have X dollars. Whenever you get paid, something gets credited into your account, and whenever you spend something gets debited from your account. So it's dollars. Plus, minus, plus, minus, plus, minus. It will go to zero eventually. Like plus, minus, it basically keeps fluctuating like that. But karma is not like that. You cannot counteract the reactions of bad activities by doing good activities. And you cannot pay for any of you cannot say, take my good karma in return for this bad thing that I have done. You cannot do that. You have two bank accounts. You have to enjoy and you have to suffer constantly. It's endless. There is only one way to get out of that karma chakra, that is kramenaiva praliyeta Vishnu bhakti ratatmanam, which means that gradually the good and bad karmic reactions will be eliminated by practicing Vishnu bhakti, Krishna bhakti, basically. But even if you were to perfect your karmic balance, what is the best that you can do? If you live 100 human births without committing a single sinful activity, not one, don't step on a single ant, don't kill a single fly, right? Never. Huh? Yeah, don't breathe, exactly. Live as a yogi, kumbhaka yoga, right? Never breathing out and in. You're in perfect equilibrium for 100 lifetimes. Then you will get the birth of Brahma. Anybody can be. We have all started as Brahma actually from the spiritual world, and we can go back to that position. But even from that position, we have fallen here. We are here, and we can even go further down. Like we can become a worm, we can become a tick on the body of a dog. Like there's no limit to how much we can fall, right? So the compensation, like every job has a compensation, right? So you get a lifespan of 311 trillion years. 311 trillion years sounds like a lot, like a long life. But to Lord Brahma, it's only 100 years. He has, because time, the perception of time expands or decline or contracts depending on our consciousness. When we are in expanded consciousness, time goes fast. When you are in contracted consciousness, time goes very the other way around. Time goes when you're in expanded consciousness, a lot of time appears like a short time. When you're in contracted consciousness, short time appears like a long time. Right? So for example, the insect has a lifetime of one night. Right? You know those insects that fly around. Lord Brahma has 311 trillion years. Both of them are living one lifetime in that time. Right? So I won't go into the details there. It's very hard to become Lord Brahma. Once you have, it's extremely difficult, very, very hard. But if you see, there is something better that you can get. You see the Bhagavad Gita, a picture of the Bhagavad Gita, on the Bhagavad Gita, right? Krishna has become a chauffeur, taxi driver of Arjuna. So Arjuna is he's in a higher position than Lord Brahma, because he has the Supreme Personality of Godhead that Brahma is worshipping as his servant, as his servitor. Like he has become it's a very humble position that Krishna has taken. So now we will go to see the to the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and we'll read from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. But before that, I wanted to mention that Krishna becomes a servant of his devotee. right? But a pure devotee serves Krishna only. They don't want to take service from Krishna. But Krishna wants to serve the pure devotee. So, each person, the pure devotee and Krishna, are trying to outdo each other in service. You know, Krishna can read our minds because he's sitting in our heart as Paramatma. But he cannot read the mind of a pure devotee. Because there is no need of Paramatma in the spiritual realm. There is no Paramatma. So every soul is fully in harmony with Krishna, but their free will cannot be understood or predicted by Krishna even. So Krishna does not know what Radharani is going to cook for him. And Radharani, by the way, she is such an amazing cook that she never makes the same preparation more than once. For all of eternity, trillions and trillions and trillions of years, she has not made the same preparation more than once for Krishna. Krishna does not know what's coming in the next meal. So Radharani is surprising him always with her service. Every single pure devotee, including his cowherd boyfriends, including the cows, including Mother Yashoda, every single pure devotee, the blade of grass, they are constantly surprising Krishna with their service. Because they are thinking, how can I outdo my service the last time that I have done? Last time when Krishna stepped on my head, this is the kind of sensation that I provided to his lotus feet. This time, what am I going to do? All the blades of grass are having a conference in the spiritual world and say, next time Krishna comes by, what are we going to do? So they are planning a festival for Krishna. Just in considering what kind of touch we are going to give him when he steps on us next time. Right? So every pure devotee is like that. So there's a competition going on in the spiritual realm. And it's incredible. So outside of these karmic actions and reactions, there is the realm of bhakti. And there are three kinds of bhakti. Right? I'll keep it very short. Three kinds of bhakti. The basic kind of bhakti that we are practicing is sadhana bhakti, which is that we are trying to follow the rules and regulations of bhakti and trying to become devotees, actually. Right? All of us are recovering atheists, really, who are not pure devotees. But those of us, we are practicing sadhana bhakti. And those rules and regulations that I mentioned in the beginning, that Srila Prabhupada taught us, chant Hare Krishna, follow the regulatory principles, serve the Krishna consciousness movement, etc., etc., that falls in the category of sadhana bhakti, or so we think. Okay? But actually, there is another kind of bhakti called raganuga bhakti. Raganuga bhakti means this is the bhakti that is practiced by people who are pure devotees practically, and they are following in the footsteps of one of the residents of Vrindavan Dham. Like somebody is following Mother Yashoda, somebody is following Subal Sakha, somebody is following that blade of grass, somebody is following the flute, somebody is following the peacock, somebody is following Krishna's dhoti. There are different kinds of Raganuga Bhakti, and different devotees are practicing that. So, a lot of people who leave ISKCON and go for something else think that they are entering into some kind of higher kind of bhakti or Raganuga Bhakti. That's what they think that they are going for. And then there is one more kind of bhakti, which is called Ragatmika Bhakti, which is not attainable for ordinary jivas. Ragatmika Bhakti is practiced by eternally liberated, pure souls who never actually came into the material world at all. That is Ragatmika. Like, you cannot be Nanda Maharaj. You cannot be Yashoda. That's a kind of Mayavad, trying to be. Mayavad means trying to be one with Krishna, but another kind of Mayavad means I want to be Nanda Maharaj. I want to be Yashoda Maya. I want to be this gopi. Right? I want to be that flute. Right? Whatever. That's not attainable. Sadhya kabu noy. So it's not possible. But what is ISKCON? ISKCON is actually Harinam Sankirtan. Right? The International Society for Krishna Consciousness is all about Harinam Sankirtan. So now we will go to that part of the Chaitanya Charitamrita that I was talking about. Okay? So here we go, Prabhu. So we are looking at Adi Lila, chapter 3. advanced view, we are looking at verse number 13 first, starting with 13 to 29. These are the verses that we are going to read. We are going to read these verses, and we will have enough time to read them and just do a quick discussion. Let everybody see. I have my phone. 13. Yeah, starting from 13. So, so go into advanced view, Prabhu. So go up to the top. No. In the website, just scroll up to the top. Default view. Advanced. And Control F, 13. 13. Perfect. One more. Okay, perfect. Okay, good. We are in the right spot now. Okay. You can read along if you want. Okay. This is the same tune. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Yatheshta Vihari Krishna Kare Antardhana Kari Mane Kare Anuman. Lord Krishna enjoys his transcendental pastimes as long as he wishes, and then he disappears. After disappearing, however, he thinks thus. Chirakala nahi kari prema bhakti dan bhakti vina jagatera nahi avasthan. For a long time I have not bestowed unalloyed loving service to me upon the inhabitants of the world. Without such loving attachment, the existence of the material world is useless. Right? The material world is created as a way for us to develop love for Krishna. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, the Lord seldom awards pure transcendental love, but without such pure love of God, free from fruitive activities and empiric speculation, one cannot attain perfection in life. Sakala jagate more kare vidhi bhakti vraja bhava paite nahi shakti. Everywhere in the world, people worship me according to scriptural injunctions. Right? In the mood of awe and reverence, right? Scriptural injunction. But simply by following such regulative principles, one cannot attain loving sentiments of the devotees in Brajabhumi. Right? Aishwarya jnane te saba jagat mishrita aishwarya shithila preme nahi mora preet. Knowing my opulences, the whole world looks upon me with awe and veneration. But devotion made feeble by such reverence does not attract me. You know, when you worship Krishna because he's the boss, it's not very sweet. You know, he's the boss. So what else are you going to do? You're going to say, yes, sir. Right? Because he's the boss. Right? It's only when you go beyond the fact that he's your boss and you actually develop a appreciation for serving him, that is love. Right? Things that you do for your job to get your salary is not love, right? So when you worship God because he's the boss, and because, okay, God, please give me this, I'm suffering that particular difficulty, please do. That is not love. That is business, right? After his appearance, Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, Lord Krishna thought that he had not distributed the transcendental personal dealings with his devotees in Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya and Madhurya. One may understand the science of the Supreme Personality of Godhead from the Vedic literatures and thus become a devotee of the Lord and worship him within the regulative principles described in the scriptures. But one will not know in this way how Krishna is served by the residents of Brajabhumi. One cannot understand the dealings of the Lord in Vrindavan simply by executing the ritualistic regulative principles mentioned in the scriptures. By following scriptural injunctions, one may enhance his appreciation for the glories of the Lord. But there is no chance for one to enter into personal dealings with him. Giving too much attention to understanding the exalted glories of the Lord reduces the chance of one's entering into the personal loving affairs with the Lord. To teach the principles of such loving dealings, the Lord decided to appear as Lord Chaitanya. Next verse. Aishwarya jnane vidhi bhajana kariya vaikuntha ke yaya chaturvidha mukti paya. By performing such regulated devotional service in awe and veneration, one may go to Vaikuntha and attain the 4 kinds of liberation. Sarshti Sarupya Ara Samipya Salokya Sayujjana Laya Bhakta Yate Brahma Aikya. These liberations are Sarshti, achieving opulences equal to those of the Lord. Sarupya, having a form the same as the Lord's. Samipya, living as a personal associate of the Lord. And Salokya, living on a Vaikuntha planet. Devotees never accept Sayujya, however, since that is oneness with Brahman. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, those engaged in devotional service according to the ritualistic principles mentioned in the scriptures attain these different kinds of liberation. But although such devotees can attain Sarshti, Sarupya, Samipya and Salokya, they are not concerned with these liberations, for such devotees are satisfied only in rendering transcendental loving service to the Lord. The 5th kind of liberation, Sayujya, is never accepted even by devotees who perform only ritualistic worship. To attain Sayujya, or merging in the Brahman effulgence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the aspiration of the impersonalist. A devotee never cares for Sayujya liberation. Yuga dharma pravartaimu nama sankirtan chari bhava bhakti diya nachamu bhuvan. I shall personally inaugurate the religion of the age, Nama Sankirtan, the congregational chanting of the holy name. I shall make the world dance in ecstasy, realizing the 4 mellows of loving devotional service. Apani karimu bhakta bhava angikare, apani achari bhakti shikhaimu sabare. I shall accept the role of a devotee, and I shall teach devotional service by practicing it myself. Purport: when one associates with a pure devotee, he becomes so elevated. Please note this sentence. When one associates with a pure devotee, he becomes so elevated that he does not aspire even for Sarshti, Sarupya, Samipya or Salokya, because he feels that such liberation is a kind of sense gratification. Pure devotees do not ask anything from the Lord for their personal benefit. Even if offered personal benefits, pure devotees do not accept them, because their only desire is to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead by transcendental loving service. No one but the Lord Himself can teach this highest form of devotional service. Why? Because only Krishna can propagate the real principles of devotional service. There is nobody else who can do that. It means Sarupya means the same form. We read the translation before. We can come back to it a little bit later. Right? So the principles of devotional service, as announced by Yamraj himself, are personally propagated by the Lord. So Krishna himself has to come. Nobody else can give this. That's why Krishna is coming as Sri Chaitanya. Therefore, when the Lord took the place of the incarnation of Kali Yuga to spread the glories of chanting Hare Krishna, the system of worship recommended in this age, He also distributed the process of devotional service performed on the platform of transcendental spontaneous love. To teach the highest principles of spiritual life, the Lord Himself appeared as a devotee in the form of Lord Chaitanya. 21. Apane na kaile dharma shikhana nayaya eita siddhanta gita bhagavate gaya. Unless one practices devotional service himself, he cannot teach it to others. This conclusion is indeed confirmed throughout the Gita and the Bhagavatam. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirvavati bharata abhyuthanam adharmasya tadatmanam sujamyaham. This is from the Bhagavad Gita. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharat, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chadushkrutam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavam yuge yuge. To deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion, I myself appear millennium after millennium. Text 22 and 23 were spoken by Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. It's chapter 4, 7 and 8. And text 24 and 25 which follow are also to be found in Bhagavad Gita, which is 324 and 321. Utsideyurime lokana kuryam karma chedaham sankarasya cha kartasyam upahanyami ma praja. If I did not show the proper principles of religion, all these worlds would fall into ruin. I would be the cause of unwanted population and would spoil all these living beings. And then the next one, yadyadda charati shreshthas tatta devetaro janah sayat pramanam kurute lokas tadanuvartate. Whatever actions a great man performs, common people follow, and whatever standards he sets by exemplary acts, all the world pursues. 26. Yuga dharma pravartana haya amsha haite ama vina anye nare vraja preme dite. Why is that? That's because dharma, like the verse that I was mentioning, is dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam navai vidur rishayo na deva na siddha mukhya asura manushya kutono vidyadhara charanadaya. So Lord Yamraj, who is one of our Mahajans, he is telling his attendants that dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. Krishna only is the person who can establish religion. Nobody else. Not munis, not rishis, not demigods, not vidyadhara, not charana, not people, not saints, nobody. Person who establishes religion is Krishna himself, right? Nobody else. My plenary portions can establish the principles of religion for each age, but no one but me, however, can bestow the kind of loving service performed by the residents of Vraja. Santvavatara bahava pankajanaಭಸ್ಯ sarvato bhadrah krishnadanyakko valata swapi premado bhavati. There may be many all auspicious incarnations of the personality of Godhead, but who other than Lord Sri Krishna can bestow love of God upon the surrendered souls? Krishna prema can only be given by Krishna himself. The door is on the inside and Krishna has the handle, the lock. You cannot open the door. He has to open the door. Right? This quotation is on the writings of Bilvamangal Thakur, is found in Laghu Bhagavatamrita 1.537. Two more verses and then we'll do a quick summary and then questions and other things. Tahate apana bhakta gana kari sange prithivite avatari karimunana range. Therefore, in the company of my devotees, I shall appear on earth and perform various colorful pastimes. Eta bhavi kali kale prathama sandhyaya avatirna haila Krishna apanina diyaya. Thinking thus, the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna himself descended at Nadia early in the age of Kali. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, the Prathama Sandhya is the beginning of the age. According to astronomical calculation, the age is divided into 12 parts. The first of these 12 divisions is known as the Prathama Sandhya. The Prathama Sandhya and the Shesha Sandhya, the last division of the preceding age, form the junction of the two ages. According to Surya Siddhanta, the Prathama Sandhya of Kali Yuga lasts 36,000 solar years. Lord Chaitanya appeared in the Prathama Sandhya after 4,586 solar years of the Kali Yuga had passed. Okay, so we'll stop there. So, what did Srila Prabhupada teach us to do again? Do what? Harinam Sankirtan, right? Harinam Sankirtan is mentioned in our scriptures as Golokera Premadhan Harinam Sankirtan. What is Harinam Sankirtan? Yes, and what is it? And it is mentioned as what? Golokera Premadhan. What is dhan? Wealth. What is prem? Love. The wealth of love. From Golokera. What is Goloka? Golok Vrindavan is Krishna Loka. So it is the highest wealth of Golok Vrindavan, which is Harinam Sankirtan. Okay? So, who is the topmost devotee of Sri Krishna? Srimati Radharani. Exactly. Right? And Krishna took the mood and complexion of Srimati Radharani. Right? And he did what? What did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did? He inaugurated the Harinam Sankirtan movement. So, what did Srila Prabhupada bring us? He brought us Harinam Sankirtan. Who knew about Harinam Sankirtan in Ottawa before, right? Right? So, what Srila Prabhupada brought us is not sadhana bhakti. what Srila Prabhupada brought us is actually the highest possible Raganuga Bhakti. Because can you find a devotee higher than Radharani? So if Radharani is propagating the Harinam Sankirtan movement, and we are all told to go out on Harinam Sankirtan and perform Harinam Sankirtan, what is that? Is that sadhana bhakti? It is sadhana bhakti because we are following the rules and regulations. But at the highest level of perfection, Harinam Sankirtan is actually what? It's Radharani's mood, it's Raganuga Bhakti. So, dear devotees, I want to conclude my talk here, and we'll have questions and clarifications and any concerns and any corrections, etc. soon. But I want to conclude by saying that you have come to the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. We should be smart enough to stay in the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, because there is no other movement that is spreading the Raganuga Bhakti of Srimati Radharani as is being spread in the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So what Srila Prabhupada brought us, he's sitting right there, okay, what Srila Prabhupada brought us is the highest possible Raganuga Bhakti. He's teaching us higher than anything else. But in order to get there, we have to let go of our anartha, unwanted nonsense that is sitting in the heart. It has to go. Only when that goes, we can actually appreciate what Srila Prabhupada brought us. And that's exactly what Bhakti Charu Maharaj was teaching in Mayapur. And that's when it struck me. And when I see these people not appreciating this, it really pains us. But it's our duty now to spread this message that Harinam Sankirtan is actually what? Provided it's done purely. And as long as it's not done purely, what is it? It's sadhana bhakti. But just because it is sadhana bhakti when not done purely doesn't limit the potential of the activity. Right? So I'll stop here. Srila Prabhupada brought us Raganuga Bhakti. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki? Jai. Questions, comments, reflections or corrections?
Wonderful, Prabhu. You got a very nice angle to this kind of Sankirtan. So I haven't thought in that way actually. So it's so amazing.
Yeah, all glories to Bhakti Charu Maharaj who gave us this understanding and realization.
Certainly, it was the association with Prabhupada. Prabhupada was considered as so.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Very great.
Incredible. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I have a question.
I just wanted to mention one thing. Don't say Dandavat Pranam, because women are not supposed to offer Dandavat Pranam. Right? The women can offer Panchang Pranam because certain parts of their body are considered to be too sacred to touch the ground. That's one. And the second thing is a woman never offers, never lies down except anybody except her husband. So that's when there's no Dandavat Pranam.
So what else do I think about that?
Say Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for correcting me. So the question is, what are the eligibility criteria to get to the Radha's mode? Now we are worshipping Krishna and the door to reach to Radha is not that.
She has it. She has the key. But the thing is, bottom line is, you cannot reach Radharani's mood. Radharani's mood is called Mahabhagavat. Okay. And Mahabhagavat is not attainable by anybody except Radharani.
Oh,
okay. However, so that is like trying to reach Radharani's mood means trying to become Radharani.
okay.
That's what it means, in effect. So, Radharani's mood is Radharani's mood. But you can follow in her footsteps.
Okay.
Right? You can become a servant of the servant. So our spiritual masters, for example, has gopis. There are 108 principal gopis. Okay? And those gopis have assistants, gopis. And those assistant gopis have what is known as manjaris. Manjaris are, right? And our spiritual masters, such as Rupa Goswami and Jiva Goswami, they are all actually manjaris. So they are, Rupa Goswami is basically Rupa Manjari, right? And as Prabhu taught me, Jiva Goswami is a manjari named Jivaka in the spiritual world. So, so we don't aspire necessarily. Our goal is to become the servant of the servant of the servant. Gopi bhartu padakamalayor dasa dasa dasanu dasa. That's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught us. Naham vipro, like nacha narapati, like he's basically saying that I'm not a king, I'm not a sannyasi, I'm not a brahmana, I don't have any social position. I'm Gopi bhartu. Gopi bhartu is who? Krishna. Padakamalayor dasa dasa dasanu dasa. That's our goal. So, but generally speaking, there are steps in bhakti. Ado shraddha, tato sadhu sangha, tato anartha nivritti syat, tato nishtha, tato ruchi. Like there's whole process. And final stage is called prema bhakti. So it's the journey can take some time because we have been here for so long. But it doesn't have to take a long time. People can, your spiritual master can reveal everything to you. Okay? Whatever needs to be revealed.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Makes sense? Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Online, any questions from online? You can raise your hand.
So while that is happening, I just want to stress one thing. If you go outside now and people say, what was that guy talking about there? What are you going to tell them? One sentence.
Chant Hare Krishna.
Chant Hare Krishna. And?
Spreading compassion.
Spreading compassion and love. What?
Achieve perfection of life.
Achieve perfection of life. What else? Anything else?
Back to Godhead.
Back to Godhead. Yeah.
Hang out with Mahabhagavat Prabhu.
No, don't tell them that. Please tell them that Prabhupada brought the highest possible treasure. And in order to find out what it is, you have to come here. Please tell them that. And there is nothing higher than what Prabhupada brought. And there is no other person who will ever bring that kind of gift to us here in Kali Yuga. Please tell them that.
So Prabhu, this sadhana bhakti and ragana bhakti, so that what we are doing, that is a misrit, like mix of, or just it goes to sadhana bhakti, and or we like it goes up when you go up, then
there's gradual purification. So if eventually you will be performing deity worship. So at that point in time, there is something known as, we make the achaman water in the morning for the Lord. So what we actually make the water by chanting some mantras into it. Then with that water we ourselves do achaman, right? And then we pour that water out, and then we take fresh water and make achaman water again. So what that means is that we actually, for the Lord, we purify ourselves, and then we make the water for the Lord, right? Like we purify, not just taking a bath, but actually doing the mantra achamana, and doing like that. So our chanting of Hare Krishna is like that too. Every time we chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, let's say we chant now, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Now, as a result of our consciousness has been purified. So the next time we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The second, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it was better than the first time because our consciousness has been purified by that. Now the third time we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Like this, this process a minimum of 1,728 times every day. Right? So in this way, what will happen is that you won't even notice. You won't even notice. You won't even notice that transition. But there will be nothing else in your life except for Krishna. Right? Like there will be, I'm cooking for Krishna, I'm cleaning for Krishna, Krishna. You will see our consciousness modify. There is nothing else. I'm working for Krishna, I'm paying Krishna's mortgage, I'm driving for Krishna, I'm serving this devotee. There's nothing else left in life. Right? And there is complete absorption. And the complete absorption necessarily does not come in the form of, you're sitting in Vrindavan like a Babaji and chanting your rounds. It comes in the form of, intense endeavor to please Krishna. Intense. Like for example, Arjun, right? Arjun, he was firing arrows, right? He was shooting arrows. He fired millions of arrows. But was he not in Samadhi? He wasn't. That was Samadhi, because he's like, Krishna told me to fire these arrows. So I am doing what Krishna is doing. So Krishna is driving my chariot. My duty is to avoid Krishna having to come back to this spot in the battlefield once more. I'll finish these people now, so that I can save Krishna unnecessary effort to come back here. Like that's his mood, like that. And Bhishma Dev, Mahajan, right? What is his Samadhi? Shooting arrows at Krishna. Krishna has no blood, right? Shuddham apava ashnaviram, like there is no veins, there is no blood in Krishna's body. He's not an ordinary body. But when Bhishma's arrow strikes Krishna's shoulder, for example, what happens? Yeah, it looks like, and I have offered one lotus to Krishna. There it is on Krishna's shoulder. I'm offering another lotus. That's his Samadhi, right? But that is not to be imitated, and he's in the mood of chivalry like that. So it's like that. So it's very, it can be gradual or sudden. Like sudden is Khatwanga. You know Khatwanga Maharaj? Khatwanga Maharaj was an ancestor of Lord Ramachandra, and he was very powerful. So he was called by the Devas to fight the Asuras on their behalf, because the Devas could not overpower the Asuras. So he fought, thousands of years he fought, and he defeated them. So Devas all came in front of him and they said, okay, my dear Khatwanga, what do you want? Thank you so much for your help. What can we do for you? The Devas control so many things, right? They are very powerful personalities. They can give you the best apartments, they can give you the best relationships, they can give you the money, living, anything that you want, they can give you, right? Khatwanga Maharaj did not ask them for that. He says, you are higher beings, you see time from a perspective that I don't see. How much more time do I have to live? That was a very powerful question, right? Because depending on that, you can ask appropriate blessing. So they said, actually, this muhurta is your last, right? He could have asked for temporary things, but he would have enjoyed it only for one muhurta. So he said, thank you very much, sir. You have done me great service by telling me that I am about to go now. Okay, so he sat down, he meditated on Sri Krishna and went back home to Godhead. So it does not have to take a very long time. It just depends on my Guru Maharaj. Whenever he calls me, he says, Mahabhagavat, are you pure devotee yet? Why? What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Don't you understand that it's so foolish to remain in material consciousness? What are you waiting for? He's yelling at me on the phone. Because he wants me to become a pure devotee, right? So the idea is that that intense hankering to be pure devotee will help us. Even though we might be far from it, like full of faults, get angry at this, get angry at that, like all of that crazy stuff happening still, right? But you won't notice it.
I have another question on that.
Okay, last question, and then Krishna Dulal Prabhu has an important message to give us.
Or maybe I can ask later.
No, last one.
So like, let's say like we are chanting for years, but what happens someday and like few months, we don't feel that like the intensity will be not that much, and some like like we will be confused. They are like not like we will be not like we will be confused whether this like we are where we are going. Like sometimes mind asks this question where we are going and like where something like that. Like you said that it will be improved always, but I see for myself sometimes it will be it will be go down completely.
Yeah, there are two things to remember. First of all, whenever we are Krishna gives us a benefit beyond our adhikar. Like I am not deserving to feel a certain kind of intensity or whatever it might be in my sadhana, but Krishna gives me a taste of it, just a little bit. Just because he wants to show me what is there, right? But it is like I might be a pauper, but one day I might be invited to stay in the house of a rich man, right? I'm a pauper. Like my place is on the street. Like I barely have a place to stay, right? Or I have a very modest apartment, whatever it might be, right? But one day, a big man invites me to his house, right? It happens with preachers actually. We go to certain places and it's like, whoa, this is something else, but that's not my position, right? It's not my place. So sometimes Krishna gives us that. So whenever we are feeling that ruchi, it's not ours. It's just a curtain pulled by Krishna and say, you can come here, but not right now. Work more. And then those days when we are feeling like this, those are the days when we have to work. Right? Roll up your sleeves and get to work. Right? Why am I not? Like, am I committing offenses? Like, it's a self-introspective process. It's not a mechanical process. Like, the 10 offenses of the holy name, against the holy name. Am I avoiding those offenses? Did I do something? Like, that sort of introspection. And then, the second thing is, we are advised to cry for Krishna. Right? Because that's what the Hare Krishna mantra is, like the cry of a child for its mother. So we are advised to cry for Krishna. But what if I can't cry for Krishna? My Guru Maharaj says, then cry to be able to cry for Krishna. And then he answers, he takes that further. And what if you cannot cry to be able to cry for Krishna? Then cry to be able to cry to be able to cry for Krishna. If you cannot do that, then cry to be able to cry to be able to cry to be, like this. So start somewhere. Feel that that is missing. And the final thing I wanted to mention to your point is, we don't chant for our satisfaction. We chant for Krishna's pleasure. So in other words, if you're not feeling that you're actually chanting your rounds nicely, that means your chanting is not for the pleasure of Krishna. So I might be chanting to save myself from material life, for example. That's not really like the purpose of chanting. The purpose of chanting is Shrunmatam swakatha Krishna punya shravana kirtana hridayantasto hyabhadrani vidhunoti suhritsatam. So the idea is, from the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is to give pleasure to Krishna. When Krishna hears his glorification, when he hears that sincere chanting, Shrunmatam swakatha Krishna. Because inside Krishna is, inside Namachintamani Krishna's Chaitanya Narasa Vigraha Purna Shuddho Nityamukto Abhinnatvam Namanamyam. Inside the holy name of Sri Krishna is his name, form, pastimes, paraphernalia, entourage, spiritual realm, everything is there. Right? So, therefore, when Krishna, I might not be perceiving that, but when Krishna hears Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, he is experiencing all those things. So if I am actually chanting without getting in the way of the chanting myself, with my consciousness, then that chanting is giving pleasure to Sri Krishna. And because that chanting is giving pleasure to Sri Krishna, you are feeling something. Because it's like Srila Prabhupada gives the example of a person decorating themselves, in front of a mirror. Right? The other day, Mataji taking a couple of mirrors, I'm sure when she was getting ready, she was not decorating the mirror, right? She was doing whatever she was doing to her own body, right? But when that happened, the mirror, the reflection also got that effect. So like that, we are like the reflection of Krishna. Like we are vibhinna amsha, like we are reflected. So when we actually worship Krishna, like when we dress the deity, when we do shringar for the deity, when we apply tilak very carefully, like when we do that stuff, we are actually beautifying ourselves, because we are the reflection, we are the mirror. You know what I mean? Like, not literally, okay, but you know what I mean? So it's like that when we are chanting, when you're not feeling. So the three things that I said was, sometimes Krishna gives undeserved thing, and then you feel like you are at that level, but actually I never was. And the second thing is, the days that when things are very difficult is when we have to work. We have to really work on those days. That's the sign from Krishna. And the third thing is that we are not chanting for ourselves, we are actually chanting for the pleasure of Krishna. And when we chant for the pleasure of Krishna, everything is, you will feel it. You will feel Krishna's pleasure in your heart. When you have cooked an offering, it applies to all forms of devotional service. When you have cooked an offering with love and devotion and offered it to Krishna, and then you will see that there is something different about it that you did not make. So that is Krishna's pleasure. And you will feel it. As you are tasting the preparation, you will feel it. That something is different about it. The same thing about leading a kirtan, about reading, about sweeping the floor. Like there's so many things that you will feel. So work. Make it happen. But it's not, you work, but it's not that you're going to be rewarded for your work. You work so that Krishna can feel pleasure. And if Krishna feels pleasure, then automatically you'll get. But if you say, oh, let me give pleasure to Krishna so I can feel it, no, it's the opposite way. Make sense? Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki, Anandakoti Vaishnavrinda ki, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Shri Harinam Mahamantra ki. Thank you very much. Krishna Dulal Prabhu, all yours.
Okay, so ISKCON Ottawa Temple rebuild. So project update. It's May 8th today, 2022. Venue, we're here at ISKCON Ottawa. And just a little recap for those of you who don't know. We've embarked on this project with working with a local architect, Mr. Dinko Sakanovic. Right? He has an office here in Sandy Hill, and we've met with him a number of times. And we're in the first phase of the project, which is trying to come up with a design and getting an estimate of the project that's going to be within 15% of the actual cost. Right? We have a market valuation, an idea of what it could cost based on today's prices and whatnot, a project of this size. But we're going to, by embarking in this process, we're going to try to get a more precise estimate, so we know exactly what we're dealing with, we know what our target is, what the goal is. And so just a few points here. Why are we embarking on this adventure, right? Some devotees may be wondering. Well, one, for the pleasure of our Lordship Shri Gaur Nitai, and probably most important, to please Srila Prabhupada. The temple premises need updating, so that's also a very practical thing. We have a retaining wall that's falling apart on the side, other things, leaks and whatnot, and so the building's a little bit dated, the apartments are somewhat dated, so it's about time that we did something. And other reasons to facilitate more Sangha for the devotees, to spread Lord Chaitanya's message. And then I took some points. We had a little meeting with a few devotees. It was another project that we were talking about, and it had something to do with Bhakti Vriksha, getting together, in homes, separately, and starting little cells, networks of just devotees having some relationships and making friendships together. And I thought that some of these points were very relevant, right? Because they pertain to even a project like this. So ideas, to take care of the newcomers and their spiritual advancements, to better educate people about ISKCON and ISKCON's purposes, to support established temple initiatives, of course, to increase the service opportunity for devotees, to support one another in service to the mission of Srila Prabhupada, the community, and the public, to have a gradual progression for newcomers to immerse themselves in Krishna consciousness. You know, we say newcomers because when you look at their standards in the West, when somebody comes in and has never been, let's say, in India, right, or to a temple before, there's so many things that are happening. You know, there's Aarti, there's the deities, there's sometimes devotees walking around the plant, right, to see, offering obeisances and doing all of those things. So we want to be able to share these cultures with others. There's so much beautiful richness that's there. Where are we? To have a gradual, so we can increase the distribution of prasadam, right? So food, spiritual food, to build meaningful friendships, association, personal relationships with one another, and to make people's lives more auspicious, right? So those were some of the points that devotees came up with. So as far as updates, so we came up with a couple of, or the architect came up with a couple of concept ideas. So this isn't per se what the temple is going to look like. It's kind of gives you an idea of what could be done. Some of the things that could be done with the space. So I'm just going to, as you could see here, so this is the blueprint, a blueprint of the temple premises, the facilities here. And we're starting from the bottom. We're going to go from the basement. So one concept idea was that, as you can see on top here, when you go to the top of the page, this is Somerset Street. So this is this street right over here. And then on the back there where you have the laundry room and whatnot, this is Henderson, right? So one thought is that there's an entrance that's going to, let's start with the basement. So this is the basement idea. There's some stairs that are coming downstairs. There's a laundry room, janitorial closet. There's an elevator that goes up. There's a big kitchen that's in the middle with walk-in cooler, storage, lots of preparation. You have a wash-up area that's on this side, a little garbage room, and you have a dumbwaiter that comes upstairs. So when we had Govindas, everybody's always going up and down the stairs. So some devotees thought it'd be great to have a dumbwaiter, like a little elevator for prasadam that comes upstairs and downstairs. Then we have some storage area or possibly a preaching area. There's a little mechanical room. There's a couple of change rooms. You know, devotees were saying it's important that we have some spaces for devotees to change when they come and change into Vaishnava attire, or they go to do pujari, work, right? They go on the altar, they go into the kitchen, shower facilities. So, here, within this design here, it seems that there's a couple of washrooms and change rooms on this side, and then there's, on the left side here, there's washrooms at the bottom, so those would be to the public, where, they come downstairs for the Sunday feast and into the restaurant. So, this is the ground floor. Right, so this is where we're at right now, and the concept is that the entrance is coming from Henderson Avenue, so on that side over there. So that's the main area, and we have a little reception desk and a big shoe area, because this was everybody's big wish to have a nice open shoe area, little welcome center, and then you could see, you go to the stairs are going upstairs. And there's the elevator, access to the elevator, so the ground floor. And here in the corner, there's a little space for a bookstore or a book area. We can have Srila Prabhupada's books. And as you move on, one idea was that maybe we could have street access here and have a little patio and have a little space to do takeout, right? So when people come by, kind of like fast food, right, on the go. This area is kind of like the Govindas concept, right? So this is a space for us to be able to welcome guests. And then, as we move here to the right, we have the temple space. So this is pretty much where we're at right now. This is the idea that the temple would be where it is. But here we have a wall. You can see that there's what does it say here? Movable partition or curtain. So let's say if we have a bigger festival, and we'd like to have more people here. It says occupancy. You could have up to 170 people in the temple. Can you imagine? Like, we have like 40 people. It's pretty intense in here, right? But maybe we could have up to 170 if we take out the partition. And there's a thought to have Srila Prabhupada's Vyasa-san at the back. Right, so like it is in most temples, when you come in, offer obeisances to Prabhupada, Guru, right, and then you have deities, Prabhupada's facing the deities, Shri Shri Gaura Nitai. Ideas that maybe Prabhupada could be here, or maybe, we could make the temple room bigger and it could be over here, and the restaurant could be over here. And here, the Govinda's area, you can see there's a serving table over here. Right now our serving table's over there, but the thought was to maybe have it on this side, which would be underneath the kitchen, close to stairs to be able to come up and down, and it's easy access. And that way it kind of blocks on the side and you can have more devotees coming in to the inside of the temple. And then, some ideas was having some minor altars on the side, maybe some deity storage, in the back for clothing and paraphernalia. And even maybe possible facility to do like a circumambulation around the deities. Sometimes when we have a festival, it would be nice. So some of the tricks here that we're playing with, that this is pretty much allowable right now. This we can do. It can be done.
So Prabhu,
yes.
There's no space for the pujaris to work with the altar.
What do you mean?
Like, place for their outfits and all that.
Yes, right. So up until now, we had a place for outfits which was downstairs in the basement. So I think that is a big desire for devotees to have something that is close to the altar. Yeah. Now, the thing that we're going to try to work with, which was one of our congregation members, Manish Prabhu, was mentioning, because he's been working with the city, he says, your big challenge here is that you have to face setbacks, right? So when you build a new building, you have to go 10 feet in, right? And when we're playing with already such a small footprint, that's a lot. But he was saying that based on the activities that we do and the amount of time that we've been here, so you could probably apply for a variance, right? So you could ask the city and say, listen, could you let us go 5-6 feet, less setbacks for us, so we could accommodate our community, accommodate our guests. So that would help us a lot. And I think a lot of devotees mentioned that the difficulty here with this is that we really would like to have an entrance on Somerset Street, right? This is also a main street where devotees are walking by. So it would be, even though there may be a main entrance in the back somehow to enter, or maybe it'd be possible to still have an entrance on the side if we can go out into the street. And I think the architect's challenge was that because of the setbacks, you could put a place kind of on the top here, right, to enter, like right here. But then it would eat into your main temple space, right? So you'd have a narrower space to be able to have the activities within the temple. So I think we're going to go back and see if is it possible for us to extend that space towards Somerset a little bit more, and maybe have a main entrance that's split, that you have a shoe area, and then that you can enter through Govinda's, and you can enter to the temple also. So that would be a big one. And then, so now let's move on to the next level. So this was, this is the first floor, right? So after ground level, the first floor, here is a concept, something that's allowable currently. So we can go up the stairs, or take the elevator, and then you can have, let's say, an ashram style facility. Because we're currently allowed to have up to 8 units, right? 8 apartment buildings, or 8 apartment units in this designation. And those units can be any size, actually, up to 4 bedrooms. So we could, even if we wanted to, we can have up to 8 4-bedroom apartments, right, in this space, which is quite big. So the architect, he looked at it and he said, you could have, this would be considered as one apartment, really. It's 1 floor, but you could have, let's say a room, and each room could have 2 beds, bunk beds, right, or one on one side and one on the other. And you could accommodate up to 8 devotees that are staying in the ashram. And then right now there's currently 1 bathroom, which I think is totally impractical for 8 persons staying in one space. So I think we had really tried to see if we could at least have 2 bathrooms. There's enough space for us to have 2 bathrooms if we had a floor that was like this. And here on this side, according to this concept here, the temple area space it's kind of like a pyramid. It looks kind of like a church kind of design. It goes up, so it's a fairly large space that goes all the way up to the, to the roof. How practical that is, not quite sure. This was just some idea that came from the architect, and we'd see maybe there's a better use for us to be able to use that space. I mean, as custom has it in tradition, we should not have any floors that are above the deity's altar, but that doesn't mean that we can't have anything that's above the temple space, right? So that's still to be determined. So let's move on to the next slide here. So this is a concept of a second floor. Right, so he said, well, or you could have, two bigger apartments, right, that are here, kind of like a one-bedroom, 2 one-bedrooms with 2 separate bathrooms. That's permissible. You can have a look there. And as you can see, there's 2 stairs, right? So I think by code, it's important for us to have 2 ways of going down in case there's a, almost like an emergency exit type of thing. So we have on each floor, there's 2 ways of going up and down. Okay, I'm going to go to the next slide. So this would be the 3rd floor. We can have a 3rd floor here. And another idea, here there's a mix. So you can see on this floor we have, 1 apartment, 1-bedroom apartment. Then in the middle here we have a bachelor apartment, so it's a smaller space. And then, here we have another 1-bedroom apartment. Okay, I'll go on to the next slide. And then this is the roof, right? So, we've expressed how it would be nice for us to have a green roof concept, to have a place where we can have a little greenhouse for Tulsi, have a little place for devotees to come out and chant japa, maybe some benches, maybe a space to have a rooftop party on top with the devotees, have a little festival that can span that space here. And you can see the space on the right here where the temple was. That's how it's getting narrower up there right down. But this was a concept ideas on each floor. So, if we wanted, it would be possible for us, for instance, to do, 1st floor, where we have a 4-bedroom communal space. Could be like a brahmachari ashram. That would be 1 apartment. 2nd floor could be, it could be like a brahmacharini apartment for ladies, right? Also 2 bathrooms, 4 rooms, right, for 8. And then 3rd floor, we could have any combination. We could have up to 6 bachelor apartments if we have the space, right? So let's say if we have guests, Maharaj is coming, or devotees that need to stay, right? Because, that aren't in the ashram, then we can have a few small apartments that we could have for the devotees, or, economically speaking, have a space to be able to rent out to students if that's what we wanted to continue to do, right? Because students are looking for spaces to stay as well. And the architect was mentioning that this idea of actually having, I'm going to go back here, of like a floor communal space is the most cost efficient actually to build, right? Because you don't have to have as many bathrooms, as much plumbing, and it's fairly doable. And we're talking right now kind of like a brick foundation, right? So, cement, right? The whole building kind of made, designed in such a way that it could be even modular, at some point. Let's say we have 4 rooms, maybe in 2 years the demographic of our community changes. And maybe we need, to have 2 rooms, right? Or some rooms for seniors to be able to stay, senior devotees to stay. So for us to be able to have those abilities, this is important. And another thought was also, devotees were saying it'd be really nice to have a bridge preaching, right? An outreach room, right? Some space to have kirtan, right? Even with other temple activities that are happening. So, maybe that's a possibility to do wherever the temple is, right? At some point to have a bigger space, right? Maybe larger, right? With some windows, to have a space for that, for Sunday school, right? For children to come. So those things are up in the air. Okay. So, project estimate. We're looking at, the market estimate is $2.5 million, right? For something like this, for the whole completion. So this includes the construction costs, architectural fees, engineering fees, city fees, everything, right? From finish to end. Best case scenario, if we could raise the funds between now, May 8th, and next spring, right? If we can do that, then the shovels can go into the ground by next May. And it's possible to complete the project by following February. So the idea is that it would take us about 9 to 10 months. We'd have to have a place for the intern to be able to have our programs and have Shishigor Nitai stay comfortably during that time. But it would take about 9 to 10 months, during the springtime and summer where the weather is good. And then once winter hits, all of the interior finishes would be happening. Now, if that can't be done within a year, if we cannot raise those funds, 2.5 million, then maybe we could aim for the following year if we can do it. Can it be done? Why not? Right? I was exercising my math skills with this, and I was pretty proud of myself. Wow, I know how to multiply 100, and all of those things. When you look at it, it's doable. If we have 1,000 people that can donate $208 a month for the next 12 months, we can make $2.5 million. We can get to it. And what's that? $208 a month? That's like a phone bill, right? Well, nobody gets a $208 phone bill, right? So, or we could, 500 people donate $416 a month, double it, right? That's $2.5 million. And what's $416 a month? It's like a car payment for the average household. Or 250 people donate $832, for the next 12 months. That's like a mortgage payment, easy, right? Or 125 people donate $16.64 in the next 12 months, per month. That's like a slightly bigger mortgage payment, right? That's there. Or 25 people just decide, hey, I want to donate $100,000 to the temple, right? That's it. All it takes is 25 people, and you got $2.5 million. Or 5 people each donate $500,000 each, right? And then you have $2.5 million. And in this economy, what's that? That's like the cost of a 1-bedroom townhome in Ottawa right now, right? So, how to donate? Okay, so we wanted to make this also easily accessible, right? So that, if people come, they can have access, they can do it, it's visible. So we're trying to set up a couple of different ways. One is e-transfers. There's a separate temple account that's going to be set up just specifically, almost like an escrow account, specifically for the redevelopment of the temple. And we'll have an email for that you can send an email to and donate. We're going to try to organize also automatic bank withdrawals, right? That's also easy for some people. I do that for a lot of my bills, right? So every month, when I have a bill, then automatically I know that that's coming out, right? Then it's simple. I don't have to think about that. A lot of churches do that. I think it's called PAR or something like this. And so devotees could sign up for that and say whatever amount they want to give, right? We could help you with this. Square payments at the temple. So we just got a special stand. We're going to create a little kiosk at the back of the temple so that when devotees come to the temple, nobody carries cash these days. They could take their card and tap. And it could be as simple, whatever amount they want to tap. We could have some things that are there, and it could be easily accessible. We can collect checks. That can be done through checks, cash, and donation receipts will be given. So that's another big bonus. ISKCON Ottawa is a charity. So whatever you give, whatever amount you give, you'll be issued a donation receipt, and you can claim that on your taxes at the end of the year, and it's a benefit, it's a little perk. Cool. Here we go. If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, flower, fruit, or water, I will accept. So this is Bhagavad Gita at 9:26. Right? So the idea is any amount, anything that you give, and it's not just Lakshmi that's necessary to make this project go. There's a lot more, right? As soon as things happen into the temple, Lakshmi is a servant of the Lord, right? She'll manifest herself. If we see that devotees are trying to do something that's pleasing to the Lord, it becomes, it's not a difficult task. Krishna's no poor man, right? Krishna's plan, the plans of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are understood by His mercy, and the plans of the devotees are as good as His plans. So this is Krishna's plan, Lord Chaitanya's plan. He wanted temples to be there. He wanted the holy name to be served, to be heard in every town and village. And if we have the backing of our parampara, if we have the backing of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then anything is possible. It can definitely be done. So it's just up to us. Do we want to be a part of it? It's going to happen one way or another, right? We just have an opportunity to be a part of something that's really great, right? This is an opportunity for us to have a little legacy project. If we do the construction right, if we can cooperate together, come up with some nice concept ideas and make it happen, then, this could be a build that could last for the next, who knows, 500 years or so, right? So it's nice opportunity. What else do we have? Okay, so what do we need to do at this point? We need to start spreading the words. Tell your friends. If you have some friends and they want to do something, hey, listen, there's going to be a wonderful temple that's being rebuilt in the center of Ottawa. It could be a nice place for other peoples to learn about your culture, to learn about Mahaprabhu, to learn about Lord Krishna. Spread the word. Tell your friends. Let the brainstorming begin. Right, so now's the time. I've heard so many ideas already from devotees. We could have fundraising dinners, we could have temple programs, we can, go to stores and we could set up tables. So many things, so many possibilities that are there. Book distribution. Obviously, in the older days, temples were being built solely on book distribution. That's how many funds were coming in, donations. And it wasn't only funds that were coming in. There was devotees that were coming in. Because let's face it, in the end, the idea is not for us to just have a big temple, right, and have 25 devotees in a big temple. The idea is for us to fill up the temple, right, and that's going to happen through, Mahabhagavat Prabhu's tutelage, like we're doing today, to go out and do this on a regular basis. Making commitments, that's also required for us to be able to do. When we make some vows and commitments, right, and we do them for the right reasons, then we can get the support and backing. Oh, I decided to put that at the end because Krishna Seva Prabhu is saying, what kind of incentives could we offer to devotees, to donate and do things? And he was saying, well, we could do this. If devotees make a nice donation, we can offer them a 1-year subscription to attend ashram nights every morning, right, throughout the year. Mangal Aarti at 4:30 in the morning, you get a subscription, right, to be able to do that, right, no charge. For 1 year, we would do that, right? Krishna Seva Prabhu.
They can do any service in the temple.
Yes, the ability, we're going to give you ability to do services at the temple, any services that you want to do, right? Well, maybe not any services, but most services we can give some facility to that. So this is just a little update, and I'm sorry, it probably went a little bit longer than I should have. But let me just see here if there's any questions.
So we're doing a similar
Mahabhagavat Prabhu, let me give you a microphone so you can. We have a separate microphone. Maybe you can move a little closer because there's a feedback from the speaker.
So one of the things is ISKCON Toronto is going through a similar renovation too. It's a heritage building built in 1896, lots of different constraints, and there's actually a building improvement committee that is working on this thing. And what they found out was that as the community grows, there's because we are an educational institution, there's a lot of space needed for like things like classrooms and stuff like that. Like you're going to have your Bhakti Shastri courses, you're going to have this, you're going to have courses for elderly people, courses in Tamil, courses in Russian, courses in various Ukraine, like whatever different languages that you're going to have. So that was the problem that we were running into in Toronto. Like a lot of programs had to happen in the temple room. It's very noisy in the temple room because so many people are doing so many things. So I think you might consider to find like classroom spaces.
Yes.
Somehow, or maybe spaces that can be used as classrooms.
Multi-purpose spaces for classrooms. Yes. Thank you. Some other questions, perhaps online. Yes, Madhusila.
So you,
Microphone. So we can hear you. Yes, thank you.
so you said the
You
donation.
just press the button here. Just once.
You said that for the donation for just this purpose, a new email ID will be created.
Yes.
So we, and that will be sent in the Ottawa Weekly Bulletin, that information.
Yes.
So we not to delete the older email. I don't have to do that.
Yes. So what we'll do is try to get that information. It's in the works right now. It's happening. I think the account's been created. It just needs to be ratified. But so we'll do that. And what I'll do is actually, even today, I'll set up a little space in the back there with a notebook and pencil, and I'm ready to start collecting pledges. So devotees, even if they want to, they're not sure what they want to donate, right? But they can say, I want to do something. I want to contribute something. So I'm going to take your email, and I'm going to take your telephone number, your name, and what I'll do is either myself, Krishna Seva Prabhu, or one of the devotees are going to call you personally, connect with you personally, and talk to you, and like to hear your input. And you know, if you want to make some kind of a pledge, let us know, and we'll walk you through the process how you can do that. Fairly straightforward? Seems like it. Okay. So thank you very much. And again, if anybody has any questions or has anything that they wanted to ask or not sure about, feel free to get in touch with me directly. I'd be happy to discuss with you. Jai Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.